welcome back. Welcome back to the table. So let's get started. I think we're on turn 7, if I remember correctly. We have just finished the red dust round. It's a new day for me. So I'm feeling like I got to catch up a little bit. Here's our card. And oh, look, we get to go first. So let's see what it says. We may move 3 of their units from one space. It seems blurry to me when I look through the camera. There we go. Through a chain of up to 3 contiguous deserts. Then may perform a free operation other than recon or march in the final desert. Okay, so what that indicates to me is that I can take my troops, march them to a place that has an enemy base and start getting rid of stuff. Here's the problem. I'm not allowed to do recon. Recon, of course, lets me reveal. So it says activate 1 rebel for each troop. So that lets me, flip them over. For the assault, I can remove active enemy forces. I can't remove any hidden ones. Bases last, court profit from mercenaries. So I guess it comes to the question, if I can't remove hidden troops, can I remove the base? Because if the troops are hidden, they're not protecting the base. And the base is all that's left, so can I just remove the base since I can't? That's a great question. I think I know the answer, and I would say you have to remove the troops first. That's the whole reason why you have to spend time to get them activated. But what a great question that is. So let me look it up. Okay, yeah, we were correct. Right here, bases last. Rebel bases may only be removed once none of their rebels remain in space. So in order to remove them, you have to activate all of them. And the recon action does that. Now, just to remind you of this particular one, we get to move through the desert and do an action, but recon is not allowed to be one of them. So this would have been a perfect action if, for example, they were activated and the corporation did this thing that activated all of them, I think at this location, right? That would have been fantastic. We would have marched across the desert and basically wiped out the base and all the units there and basically freed the desert from tyranny, or the opposite of it, I guess, if we're the tyrants, I guess. It depends on why they're rebelling, I guess. It's a worthless event for us. And that also means it's worthless for everybody else. But before we go, we have to roll 3 dice because this guy has 4, and I just realized we're not necessarily first. So he rolled 2 dice, which means that 2 of them are 4 or less. So that means he may go eligible second. So he's not eligible first, though. But he may go eligible second. So what determines if he really does go eligible second? That's a great question. Let me look again. Forgive me, I'm still looking. I should have paused. I probably should have paused. Yeah, they do it. So in order for them to become second eligible, just to show you the math, they would have to spend 1 to move to third and a second 1 to move to second. So they would spend 2 of these, and they do it. They would have become first eligible if they rolled well enough, but they were going to at least be second. So that means we're going first and they're going second. I'm not worried about this event helping them at all. So, in fact, the event does not show critical or anything for them. So we're going to go ahead and go. The only thing that we want to maybe check is let's look at the next event, which they're showing is not something we care about at all. It says increase profits by 3, then place 2 security in each of up to 3 spaces adjacent to, yeah, this is not something we care about at all. So there's no reason for us to pass, because maybe, because if we take our turn, we're not going next turn. And if there was something awesome there, we would miss out on it. So, okay, let's move forward. We're going to do a full action and special activity. There's no reason not to. We are out of money because we went a little money happy last time. So let's figure out what we're going to do. And we may need to make some money. So petition lets us place a supply on Earth, which will give us money. 1 supply for every 3 rebels activated by the accompanying operation. This sounds like a great time to activate some rebels. Okay, so which ones go with petition? Secure goes with petition, and recon goes with petition. Also assault, but remember, we can't assault anybody who's hidden. And this round is starting with literally everybody's hidden. So, for example, I can't get rid of this orange one. They're hidden. Here in whatever that city, Guangzhou, they're all hidden. Same with their everywhere. Now, what they did do is they moved themselves, because remember the Cheaty McCheaterson thing, they took all their troops and left whatever spaces they were in, and now, boom, they're in all these spaces. So if there's a space I need to defend the most, it's the one with my base, which is this one. So what? And we also have fortify there. So I want to do something in that space, and I think secure is the action I need to do here. So it's enter labyrinths and reveal rebels there. So it does cost 3 resources per destination labyrinth, which I don't have. The plot thickens. Is there any way I can get resources besides the... I may have overspent, folks. I told you that it doesn't matter. There's a cost for everything here, and it's 3 resources. Wow, did I... Well, I mean, I could retcon, but I'm not going to. I'm just letting you know that was an option. So, clearly petition will get me money, but not now. Those supplies have to make it to Mars, just because they're on Earth. So that's going to take a few turns. The unfortunate part here is I have to pass. Because if I pass, I get 3 resources. And I have no choice. I don't have the money because of the choices I made. So I will pass. I will get 1, 2, 3 resources. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It would have been nice to do some actions here. But that does mean that yellow gets to go first. But the problem is, in order for them, no, they get to go first now because of what we did. They moved to second eligible. I was first eligible, I passed. So now they're second eligible, which means they get to go first. So let's find out what they would do. I'm pretty darn sure they're going to do the... They're going to do a full op, but let's see. So is the current event critical and effective? No. And now they're going to check for critical asset. That's right. They have 2, so they're going to draw 2 cards. So the first one is a resource and a resource. These are worthless cards for them. So they don't do that. All right, so then they keep going. Current event is critical for second eligible faction. Well, I think they just mean the next one. The next eligible faction is going to be corporations, and it's not critical for them either. So the answer is no. Next event is critical for the acting faction, and they'll be first eligible. Ooh, good question. It is not critical for them. They would never be first eligible. So yeah, they're going to do the Op plus SA. So we're going to have them, they're doing what we would have done. So then this moves to there. And now let's do the fun part. Deciphering these complex cards. All right, here we go. First question, is there 10 or more CRS rebels on the map? All right, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the back, 6, 7. There are only 7 on the map, so the answer is no. So now they're moving to the next card. 2d6 less than available rebels. They should be. They got so many rebels available. They got way more than 8 available. Yes. Hidden CR rebel in any space with a vulnerable enemy base. That's not true. There's no vulnerable enemy bases anywhere. Or no CR control. That is true. There's a hidden rebel in a space with no CR control. And they may perform special activity. Yes, so first thing they're going to do is they're going to ambush in up to 2 spaces using attack. Oops, jeez Louise. There goes the camera. And here it says set both dice to 1. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out in a second. All right, so what we have to do is we have to look at the bubble chart, and they want us to look at attack. This one. So vulnerable enemy base, we already know there isn't one. No CR control, there's several. So we're going to use the greens again. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Nope, they have CR control there. So I'm taking that one back. There's only 2 spaces. They have CR control there. So we're not going to... So that space and that space. They really don't have troops very many other places. All right, so I'm going to keep going. Next one is MG is a player. That's us. Most support. Okay, so they're going after who supports us the most. Here it's neutral, and there it's neutral. So they're both the same. That did not break any ties. Now, one thing that we could do is we could stop here, actually, because this says up to 2 spaces. No, because we have to roll, and they could fail the roll. Now, they do have this. We still have to decide which space they're doing first. Okay. Let's keep going. RD is not a player. Corp is not a player. Most CR rebels. Well, that's a clear winner, chicken dinner. That's over there. So that's the one that's going to go first. And we can even denote that by putting this there, right? So that's the one we're acting on right now. So what they're going to do is they're doing ambush. They're doing their special activity first. So now we take our player aid, open it up to ambush. So location, up to 2 attack spaces with a hidden rebel. The attack activates 1 hidden rebel only and sets each die to any desired value instead of rolling. What does instead of rolling? Oh. It's ensuring a successful attack. So they're going to do the attack action, but this is going to make it so the attack is successful. I get it. So they're setting the die to 1. And that means they have to activate their 1 rebel. Well, this is easy. We know they're going to do that over here too. And then we'll set that die to 1 as well. So there's going to be no dice roll for this situation. But for the second one, we do have to roll this here. And that's a fail. And all that means is they would have paid 1, right? They were going to do this no matter what. It's just whether or not they would have paid a card. So they're going to pay a card to overcome the failure. Okay, so now, like it says, they're going to do an attack action. It says using attack, select spaces. Well, we just did. It's the same 2 spaces, but we at least know the order now. And then here you can see at support or opposition. Oh, they're giving us some criteria. At support or opposition, which there is none. With 3 or more rebels, there is none. Where CR rebels are already active. So this is great that they're giving us this criteria, but we just set up ambush in 2 places. There is a spot with 3 or more rebels, but it's that one up there. And yeah, so I think, like, what do you do in this situation, folks? This criteria said use attack, and it did not supply these reasons. And it said where there's no CR control. So that's why we ignored that space up there. This one is telling us to do it with 3 or more CR rebels, which is there, but that has CR control. Because it's not saying use the attack. Well, it does say using attack to select spaces, and then it's telling us to do that criteria. It makes no sense. I don't know. If there's a developer out there who designed this game, to please explain why they would suggest something that contradicts what the actual attack bubble sheet says. I mean, I guess it's possible to have 3 or more rebels and not have CR control, but this makes no sense. I just set up this ambush in 2 spaces. Then you need to attack in those 2 spaces, or otherwise the ambush it gives you no value whatsoever. I would have to go back and retcon the ambush. Anyways, I hope you see my frustration with this particular series of... I don't think they're very well thought out. That, or I'm royally screwing something up in my logic, and I don't believe I am. I mean, anyways, we're going to do the 2 spaces we selected. Yes, they have less troops there. They're not ideal. I get all that. I just don't see any other option. Like, to me, this is a no-brainer. It's attack the 2 spaces you set up an ambush, and there is no other consideration. But anyways, let's go. You know what? I think the reason why this is here, and now that I think of it, might be... Well, no, because the only way you get here is if there was yes to special activity. So if you had a limited op, you would have flipped it over and done this side. Okay, I'm not going to overthink it anymore. We're going to just go. So the attack action. So it's any spaces with forces and CR rebels. In each space, activate all CR rebels and roll 2 dice. If the sum is equal to or less than the total forces present, place 1 damage. Then each die result equal to or less than the number of CR rebels removes 1 EG troop or 2 other enemy forces. No hidden spec ops. Bases last. Place a CR base if a terraforming base is removed. Oh, that would have been interesting, but that's not the case here. All right, so first things first, is everybody gets activated. The rebel there is already activated. Secondly, it damages. This is already damaged, so it doesn't do that. The dice is equal to a 2. It says roll 2 dice. The dice is equal to 2. If the sum is equal to or less than total forces present, place 1 damage. Damage is already there, so nothing done there. Then each die result equal to or less than the number of CR rebels present removes 1 troop or 2 others. Now this is the part that's devastating. It says each die result. So because we set them to 1, it's equal to or less than the 1 rebel that's there, and so they're going to get rid of 2 others. So all 4 of these go to... Well, they go back into my available forces. So they were able to remove 4 troops. And they would have destroyed our base if they had the ability to do just 1 more damage. That's brutal. Okay, so that one's done. Same outcome. They did the ambush, so they're rolling a 1-1. Except over here, they're not going to hit the secret OPSEC. Now this is interesting. They are going to destroy the base because, well, first of all, they damage this population, and that causes a displaced population to go here because of the damage that was done. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, again, they have one and they rolled 2 1s, so they get to eliminate 2 other forces. Well, here's 2. Those go to casualties. And then they get to do 2 more, but it's actually the base gets destroyed. And I'm pretty sure the base goes to casualties as well. I need to check that. 1 second. Okay, so the book says all pieces. So a base is a piece. So I think we did the right thing. I mean, maybe we can check in the, I think when we do the, yeah, look at this. Corporate, this is the flashpoint round. Reduce profits by 1 for each corp base and by 1 for every 2 security. So they're going to lose some profits because they lost those troops. The corporate AI player is playing horrible. Absolutely horrible. You could argue that I'm playing horrible because I haven't done anything this game. All I'm doing is watching everybody else play. That's how it feels. But anyways, we'll keep going. They are done. And then we move to the next eligible, which is the corporation. So now, because they went full, they can do a limited op or an event. So let's see what the corporation decides to do. Next event is critical for acting faction. They will be first eligible on it if they pass, and current event is not critical and effective. Current event's not critical and effective. Next event, also not critical. You would think it would be. That increases their profits by 3. Then place 2 security in each of 3 spaces. That sounds like it's totally something a corporation would do. But no, they're not doing that. Did the first eligible choose the event? No. Did the first eligible choose Op SA and the current event is critical or performed and effective? It is performed, yes. So what does perform mean? It doesn't have the slash through it. So is it effective? This is where we have to put in some of our noggin skills. So in order for the corp to be effective, you have to increase profit, increase forces, or EG forces, and number of terraforming bases, which this isn't going to do that. This is going to allow them to move and attack. But it would let them remove corp from casualties. No. Enemy forces from the map, yes. Because since the CR exposed themselves, they can be removed there, and they can also be removed there, and a base destroyed. So that is something they do want to do. So here you can see, it says the executing faction, they're going to do it. They're going to do the event. That makes total sense for them to do. I'm actually getting excited. Okay, it says they may move up to 3 of their units from one space through a chain of up to 3 contiguous deserts. Then they may perform a free operation other than recon or march in the final desert. So it's a pick one space. Now here's the thing that's tricky. There is no desert space that has a space shuttle. Not that I can see. So they have to start from somewhere, like here, for example. Or, like, I don't think they would want to move from where they have a base. They have so many troops just waiting on Phobos that they can bring down. But it says from one base through 3 deserts. So unless they can go from Phobos directly to a desert, it's not going to work. Because they would have to go through a labyrinth first and then through a desert. And that's the reason why it doesn't work for them. Oh man, they may not be able to do this. Now you can argue, hey, why can't they move these 2 troops right here? And They could. Having them there would have been nice. So how do we resolve this? Well, we have to go through the very nasty move process. So we know we can't move the stuff from Phobos because that violates the movement of the particular event. So here we have to start with selecting a destination. Destination's easy. Well, no, I mean, I shouldn't even be selecting the destination for them, but I'm pretty darn, it's two choices. It's this place here with one troop, or that place with a troop and a base. It's gonna be the troop and the base, but let's go through it to make sure that the bot agrees. So we're gonna do A here, and then B. So most movable forces not required to remain in origin per instruction below. Select at random is like, okay, so it's basically saying pick where the most movable, okay, got it. So select the destination, not already selected as origin, using the priorities below. So the first one, keep sufficient forces to change no control. Well, so this one's controlled by the red dust. Over there, they would have to keep forces. No, they don't. They could theoretically move from there. Okay, so keeping forces so control doesn't get lost. Technically, they would not lose control if they move those forces. Same with here. Either of these two places. The base itself would still control, but it would make it vulnerable. I would imagine they're not going to want to make a base vulnerable, but let's see. It says keep acting cubes greater than rebels in origin, which means that they're not going to want to move those cubes. Oh, they're not going to do this action. So keep MG forces greater than Corp forces, or I'm sorry, moving on. Origin is populated and has Corp base. Keep the Corp forces greater than MG forces if there's a Corp base. So that means this one's out. They're not greater than MG forces, but they wouldn't move them. So now we're down to these two. This one's out because they need to have more than rebels. So this is the only one left. Yeah, it's not looking good. I think they're not doing the event. Get coin control. Destination is populated and it has Corp base. Get 4 cubes to a Corp base. Yeah, none of this is helping us. Destination has no Corp base and room for a Corp base. Get 3 security to the destination. The only thing that satisfies all their conditions is this one. Sorry again. Well, actually, there's a couple of things. They could send these 2 troops, which makes their base vulnerable, to go after the CR base. But one of their priorities was to get troops to their base here because there's 3 rebels at their base. So they would move troops to protect their own base there. But this is a very restricted movement. And once they get there, there's no actual op they can do because the op that would have revealed the rebels at that base is not allowed. So I think we have to use some common sense here. And that is one of the golden rules. I mean, the AI tries to help you as much as possible, but this is a case where we don't get to move our troops anywhere. Those bubble charts that we just looked at assumes that we can move anywhere. Now, the bubble chart is telling us that they need to protect their base here. I don't disagree with that. It's just that when we move there, the action to reveal those units is not allowed per the event. So I think using common sense, we can't go there and do that. So it still goes back to we want to destroy that base over there, which is what made the event viable. So then where do we move the troops from? There was nothing telling us that we can't move these other than they wanted to get troops to where a base is to protect their base. It also said that they wanted to keep troops wherever there are rebels, which is why we couldn't move these. So we either have to do one of two things. We either say, nope, they can't do the event, or we say, you know what, even though there's rebels here, this still makes sense to move these because they can go, 1, 2, 3, get to that location, and they already have an OPSEC there, and they would be able to, destroy the units. Now, technically, they only need to move 1 because there is an OPSEC already there, and they can reveal their OPSEC and kill the 1 unit that's there. They just need to move 1 more, and they will destroy the base. You know what? I think let's resolve this the way any proper diplomat would. A 1 to a 3, they're going to do the event and they're going to move 1 cube from this location right here to wipe out that base. A 4, 5, 6, they will cancel the event because they don't have troops that they can move because they need to secure the areas they're currently at. And then they'll instead do a limited operation, which in my opinion is still crap compared to this. I'm starting to even second guess, why am I rolling a die? Let's move the 1 troop. As much as I know they want to keep these troops here, this is a far better move for them, and I'm going to agree to it. We're going to go there and we're going to kill this and destroy the base. That is by far the better thing to do. Coin already controlled the region. Well, no, it didn't control the region. After they did what they did, we actually lost control. That would have been this. So they actually took control back. So it was a good move. It's just justifying where the cube needed to come from was the challenge. Okay, we're at the end. I gotta stand up real quick. These 2 move to ineligible. This comes off. And then this flips over and you can see there's a 3. So the flash point goes up to 3. And here we go. Red is going to be first. So, is the current event critical and effective? No. No, it's not. Is current event critical for the second faction? That would be us. The answer is no, and in fact, we got the slash. It's not even something we care to do. Is the next event critical for acting faction and they'll be eligible if they pass? That's a good question. We didn't look at the next event. Yes, it is critical, but they're not eligible. Oh, that is pretty good for them. It's critical, but they're not going to be first eligible. So let's look at this. And they'll be first eligible, no. So they're going to do the op plus the SA. So let's just get that going for them. That does put us to a limited op. Oh gosh, these guys are just like, the one thing I wanted to do, folks, was since there was a displaced population, I wanted to do it because that moves this EG to plus. So then it moves favorably towards us. And what's the first question they ask? Are there any population markers? I mean, that's all they care about. 2d6 less than available rebels. Oh, they might do a no on this one. This is an 8. That is not less than they have 4 available rebels. So instead they're going to do march using move priorities. And then there they go. There's nothing to march to. We already did this when we removed everything. We did the move priorities when we redistributed all their units. That's the reason why they have 3 at every base and all that stuff. So I'm not even going to bother marching. We're just going to move to the special activity coordinate. So they want a house using place population. And that, I think, is going to be different. They want to go where there's most opposition and most rebels. Well, most opposition, I mean, obviously this is most opposition with just 1 rebel. This one has no house available. That one, no. This one also has most opposition, but not most rebels. So yeah, they're doing this one right here. So they're going to put another pop here, which gives them another 2 points. 1, 2. And that's unfortunate, because out of all the things I was wanting to do, it was exactly that. All right, so makes total sense. I mean, if I'm doing a house, that's where I would go. It's right there. That gives them the most points. They can't do repair. There's nothing else left. They can't do shift towards opposition. Reduce agitate for each repair. Yeah, they're done. It was a devastating move for me because that's exactly, yeah. I need that EG to move up. And by them doing what they did, they got it locked to move down. And since there's no population available, there's nothing I can do. Unless I can somehow damage a population, which I don't think is something the Martian government wants to do. All right, so we got a choice. We can do the event or we can do a limited op. The event, if I remember, is the corporate security thing. Increases profits and does all that stuff. Not a fan. The rulebook does say, by the way, you follow it literally. So even though profits don't affect me, I would still increase the profits for him. And even though security troops aren't controlled by me, I would get to put security troops wherever I wanted them to go. So this is something that even Pendragon had. All the coin games are literal. So it says place 2 security in each of up to 3 spaces adjacent to maglev lines. I get to do that. So I can take security, from his board and do whatever I want with them. And so could Mars or the church in this situation. If you do that event, you're in control of where they go. So that's one of the things to understand about coin games is the rules are literal. I don't want to do the event, even though the event's available to me. Placing their troops doesn't appeal to me. Although I could argue placing their troops will help me because it gets coin control in certain areas. I would rather do an action. Since they destroyed some units, I think I want to do a train action because then I can place units where my base is. First off, it protects my base, and secondly, it'll help me to get my troops back out on the board. I have a limited auction, so I can only go to one place at a time anyways. So if I do a train, it costs me 3 resources. I place 4 troops, and then I may pacify in 1 selected space. And of course, pacify is, I could pay 3 resources. Oh no, it's not going to help me. I mean, I can repair, I can do all kinds of cool stuff, but I could have done an assault, but only if I had troops actually there, which I don't. I can't do an assault. I can do a recon, where I can move troops to a destination desert, and then activate units. I don't need to activate anything, I just need to move troops there. Man, oh man, what do I do? Do I pass again to get 3 more resources? I don't want to do any of these things. I guess I'm going to do trade. I just won't do anything with it. It'll let me place 4 units here. Those 4 units are going to be worth it to protect my base. And if anything, they give me in position where I can start to make a dent here or here. And that's going to cost me 3 resources. Puts me back down to 1. And I cannot do a limited up. Now, maybe I should have done the event and got the corporate resources out. Let me think about this. It has to be near a maglev. So, like, I was thinking, well, maybe I could put corporate resources here to protect my base. But there's no maglev over here. Everything about maglev is over there. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. It's unfortunate because if Red would have done anything but the dang displaced population thing, I would have been very pleased with this action. And yeah, I would love to put support on the Earth, but that requires a special activity. It's not something I can do. Okay, my turn's over. So we go ineligible. These are up. This goes away. This comes out, and it moves up 3. And so we just triggered a flashpoint round. So we're going to stop what we're doing, and let's do flashpoint. Trying to find the handout here. Okay, first we do the Aldrin Cycler. Move all pieces in transit to Phobos. There's a lot of pieces in Phobos. Place all population markers now in Phobos in displaced. Move all satellite markers to orbit. They're already there. There were no population, by the way. Increase MG resources by 3 for every supply marker now in Phobos. Move 1 population marker from Earth to transit. Done. EarthGov controller, choose 5 other pieces, including satellites and supply markers, but not population, to move to transit. He's going to choose the cubes over the supply. He always does. They may reduce profits. They won't do that. Okay, so then corporate casualties. They're going to lose 1 for their base and 1 for every 2. So they're going to lose 2 profits. For their casualties. Move all satellites to orbit. Improve or degrade competence. This is where it hurts so bad. By them doing what they did, the competence just degraded. Add pieces to Earth as indicated in the competence level. So it shows 3 supply and 6 more cubes. There's 3 more supply. There's only 2 cubes available though. Increase profits by 2 for each desert with a corporate terraforming base. There's 2 of them. So that would be 4. And then 1 for each additional terraforming base at the by 2 for each desert. For each additional terraforming base after the first. In each desert. Increased by 2 for each desert. So that means more than 1. So wouldn't it be 2 for the first and 3 for the remainder? Isn't that a better way to word that? So profits are 4, and then because they have 1 more in the desert, that they have more than 1 in the desert, so that would be 1 more to make it 5. So the other way would be is the first one's 2, and then every one thereafter is 3. Isn't that saying the same thing? And then reduced by 1 for each conversion center, where there isn't one. I'm going to give them the 5 profits, even though that makes no sense. It sounds like I should only be giving them 3 profits in some weird way, but I'm going to give them 5 because I don't think it's working to give them 3. I mean, they're hovering in the near 0 bucket. Yeah, losing the earth confidence was, that really blew. Blue chunks. Okay, that's it for the flashpoint. So now we go to yellow only has 1 die. They have to roll less than a 1, so they're not going to move up on the turn order. They're second in eligibility anyways already, so corporations are first. So this is not critical, and I think you're getting the gist here. The only thing that they need to check before they do the op plus the SA is they want to check the next event to see if that's critical for them. And it's, whoa. It is not critical. Sometimes I can't tell. My eyes are bad. It's got the slash through it. So all right, so let's see what they end up doing. They're doing the full op plus SA. Oh, they did want to see if this one was critical. Oh, hold on. I need to go through the checklist properly. Look at that. It's critical for the rebels. So they actually might change their tune. Let's go verify. Current event's not critical and effective. It is critical for the second eligible faction. So they're going to do op only. They're not going to do op plus SA. So they're going to do op only, which blocks him from taking the event. And that's the right move. That is the right move. Okay, so op only for the corporation. Any population markers? No. Draw another card. EG confidence greater than 4. No. Draw another card. Trying not to ruin the order here. Corporate L. 2d6 less than available security. I rolled a 6. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is yes. Assault could remove an enemy base or 2 or more rebels in 1 space. No. Because there's only 1 space that has rebels exposed, and that's there. There's no other rebels exposed anywhere. So we're going to say no, so that means we flip this over. So we're going to select 1 special activity. So they're either going to do exploit or public relations. they're going to start trying to do exploits, and public relations is not going to work for them either. Exploit. Max 2 spaces. Gain profits and remove support or opposition. Up to 2 spaces with a corporate base. No damage and more corporate forces than MG forces. Increase profits by population, then shift 1 level towards neutral. If RD control, RD gains resources equal to population. If CR control, CR may draw 1 asset card. Interesting. So this says exploit using exploit, which just means we have a bubble chart for exploit. Okay, the first criteria is most population. And it has to be a space with a corporate base, no damage, and more corp than MG. So what does that even mean? So you could see this one does not have more troops than MG, but it has a base. This one does. This one does. Those are the only 2 places with their bases besides. So this one has 1 population and that one has 2. So that's the winner chicken dinner up there. And it is a max of 2 spaces. There's no AN for corp, so basically those are the 2 places they're going to choose. Increase profits by population and shift 1 towards neutral. The thing is, well, no, this one would shift 1 towards neutral. So that becomes passive, which means we drop by 1. So we go down 1. This one doesn't change. He's going to get 1, 2, 3 profits. I mean, that move makes sense. He doesn't want us to win either, even though we're sort of allied. And then it says RD would gain resources for that because they are in control, but they don't use resources, so neener neener to them. Okay, so that was, I gotta reverse all that. They don't do the special activity. Remember, it's a limited op. So let's go back. This goes back up. Profit goes down by 3. I'm gonna move back up 1. All right, so we're not doing that. But what a great exercise. We were practicing our ability to execute that. I think we're getting better at this, at least I hope I am. Logistics, that's what they're going to do. And this makes complete sense. They have so many troops in Phobos waiting to do something. Upgrade 1 base using place or upgrade bases. So here's the deal. Logistics is Earth, transit, and any deserts. So if Earth, place 4 corp units. Right, so they're telling me to do this in this order. First is they want us to upgrade a base. So where do bases get upgraded? If desert, upgrade 1 corp base to terraforming. Okay. All the desert bases have already been upgraded. So they can't do that one. All right, so then the next one is if there's 2 or more dust storm rounds remaining, there is, upgrade additional bases using, well, the only base they can upgrade is in a labyrinth. So I don't think this says that they can do that. Upgrade 1 corp base to terraforming. Then even if may place 1 security at any corp bases at a cost of 1 profit per, no, that's not what we're doing. Next one, place 4 corp units on Earth. So it says if Earth, place up to 4 corp units. 1 spec ops. So we're gonna do 1 spec ops and 3 units on Earth. That just guaranteed that we're not gonna get supplies. Okay, then it says resolve Aldrin cycler, no population to transit. So it says if transit, Corp resolves Aldrin cycler with population optional. That is actually going to help us because the Aldrin cycle does this. All of this goes to Phobos, and as you know, that means this goes to here, and then they have to pick 5 units from here, but they can't choose, or it was population, wasn't it? Let's do the Aldrin cycler step at a time. Move all pieces, transit to Phobos, place population markers, move satellite. There's no supply. Move 1 population from Earth to transit. And that's the one thing that we don't do in this one. No population to transit. So that's not happening. Then choose 5 other pieces to move. Yes. Yeah. The supply is not moving, it's 5 pieces. So they would move these 4 and then that 1. And they just don't move any population. Okay, so the Aldrin cycler part is done. Then place security using place cubes at corp bases with 0 to 3 cubes. This makes total sense as well. So the corp bases with 0 to 3 cubes is everywhere. And they want us to do the place cubes action. So you can see if desert, upgrade 1, may place 1 security at each corp base, even in labyrinths, at a cost of 1 profit for security placed. Place security using place cubes with 0 to 3 cubes. Okay, so they're going to place, it says place 1 security. So they're going to place 1 at all 3. So they have 4 cubes in there on their player mat. So they're going to place 1 here, 1 here, and then of course 1 there. And that's going to cost them 3 profit though to do. I still think that was a good move on their part. But yes, they don't get to do the special activity and the logistics. It's odd, some of the stuff here, but that also makes sense. Now, the place of base, there is one more thing I want to check. So if desert, upgrade 1 corp base, where do you get to place a base? See, it says upgrade 1 base. Oh, using the bubble chart. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because see, they're in the desert over there and it would be really nice if they could place a base there, is what I was getting at. Okay, we did it right. So they did a limited op and to prevent Orange from doing the action. And I think, yeah, they got 1 million troops just waiting in Phobos. All right, now I need to grab the right sheet here. Orange is up. Is the next event critical for Orange? No. In fact, it's a no bueno card. Did the first choose the event? No. It chose Op SA? No. Acting faction is NPCR and first eligible chose Op plus SA? No. Would they be first eligible if they pass? No. Acting faction, do they have 5 or more assets? No. They're going to do the limited up. That makes sense. And this is actually not a limited up, it was just an up only. This is the limited up. And that's why they were able to place in 3 places, because it wasn't a limited up. All right, sorry about the terminology issue there. All right, let's grab the orange card. So 10 or more CR rebels on the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The answer is no. New card. Two D6 less than available rebels. I don't even need to roll, folks. The answer is going to be yes. Yeah. They might have had less than 12. I don't know. But they got so many. Here, let me just show you. They got 1 million rebels. And then one more thing we forgot to do. They have this ability. Their attack removes an additional enemy species for each successful die roll. So that means they would have destroyed our base. Right here. They would have destroyed that base. I don't know how to retcon that because I took a whole action since then. But remember, they killed our 4 units, and I was like, boy, if they only had 1 more damage. Right here. This is their 1 more damage. I'm just going to put an asterisk there and tell you I screwed that up. If there's any way to make a solitaire game with multiple bots extremely difficult to play, it's to then give one of the bots special powers that you have to keep track of. And that's exactly what this is doing. I'm still, like, this far into the game, I would tell you, you need to play Church of the Reclaimers most of the time. And I would recommend that for your first solo game, Church of the Reclaimers is the way to go. And the reason I'm saying that is because you save yourself from having to track so many things, and it makes the bot control easier. Like, everything's easier. In some ways, the MG and the Red Dust Rebels almost play identically to each other. The only other, to me right now, the most fun one to play sounds like the Corporations. Being able to control the Phobos transit and stuff. I tell you what, if I were playing, that big stack of doom would not be sitting there. I'd be exerting massive control over Mars with all those cubes. But that's the issue here. Anyways, getting back to this. The answer was yes. Is there a hidden CR rebel in any space with a vulnerable enemy base or no CR control? There is one hidden rebel with no CR control, but it's not what they think it is. Can they perform a special activity? No. So there we go. We flip it over. They're going to rally. Place bases where there's 3 or more rebels in one. That exists. Well, no, that does exist somewhere. Okay, let's do rally. That is actually going to work for them. Probably not the way they wanted it to, but it will. Okay, rally can only occur on any neutral space on Mars. So, in each space, place 1 rebel or replace 2 with a base. If CR base may instead either place CR rebels up to population or flip all rebels there to hidden. Okay, first thing they want to do is place a base. So right here is neutral. They can remove these 2 and place a base. So now there's 2 bases in New Cordova. Okay, that's the first thing they want to do. Then alternate placing rebels and upgrading bases. Okay, so what they're going to do then is they want to place rebels first. And it's anywhere that's neutral. So for example, that one's not neutral. This one is. But they can only place rebels where there is a base. So that would be the wilderness. So we don't even have a decision tree to do here. So it says place rebels up to population plus bases. Well, there's no population in the wilderness, but there are 2 bases, so they can place 2 rebels. Then it says they can upgrade to a conversion center, but there's no more locations left. They've already acted on New Cordoba, and now they already acted on the wilderness. You can't act on the same place more than once. So their turn's over. Unfortunately, that action suffers from the fact that there's just not enough troops out. They need to, whatever thing they need to do to put troops out, this was actually it. They need to then travel, which that's the thing they haven't done yet. They need to put troops out and then they need to move them into other places. That's the CR weakness there. Now, what could I have done differently if my base was destroyed? Because I'm starting to feel sympathy for the fact that I screwed that up. I'm trying to think, like I did the train action, so maybe I can put those troops somewhere else. I don't mind taking this back. So there's no control. In fact, well, actually they have control. I will put these 4 somewhere else, and I'll put this base back on my player map. I don't have a problem with that. We just put these 4 somewhere else. But where? I'm going to put them here. Okay? And then that's it for the retcon. We're not going to change anything else. So we should be okay there. All right, so these 2 go to ineligible. That goes to eligible. This card comes forward. We move up flashpoint by 1. Okay, so off we are to the next round. Here is the card, the Tombs of Mars. And unfortunately, red is going before us again. There is a population available, folks. So, dum. Let's see what they're going to do. Is the current event critical and effective? It's not critical. Is the current event critical for the second eligible faction? No. Is the next event is critical for acting faction, and they will be first eligible if they pass? That's an interesting question. No and no. These symbols are really hard for me to see because it's gray on gray. Like if this background was any other color, or if those symbols were just any other color, I would do much better. Like solid black would be really nice. Like this black here. Anyways, the answer is no. So I think they're doing, they're here. They're going to do the Op plus SA. Okay, so that means we could do the event. So MG or Corp may house in 1 space. Then shift up to 2 deserts with population markers, 1 level each. Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, I know it's not critical, but I like that one. And house, by the way. So my thing is I want that EG thing to go to EG plus. So I'm just going to look real quick. House for us. Transfer a population marker to a space without damage. then EG plus, right there, baby. That's what I'm looking for. So let's hope that their action doesn't beat us to the punch. So they're doing opt plus special activity. All right, 1, 2, RDS. Are there rebels in 2 or more populated spaces not at active opposition? Yes, there's a million of them. Because they got to instantly transport everywhere with their Cheaty McCheaterson. Is there a hidden RD rebel in any space with vulnerable bases? And may perform special activity. So I don't think there's any vulnerable bases though. That's the issue. So I think the vulnerable bases is no. Here's what's interesting. They added 1 troop there, and I think that prevented it from being vulnerable. Let's look at any space in a space with fewer than 4 friendly units. Oh, yes, yes, yes. There are vulnerable spaces. So yes, that is vulnerable. That corporate base there. There's no other bases that look to be vulnerable. But yes, that is definitely qualified. So we got a yes and a yes. So they're going to do an ambush. Select 2 spaces using ambush. Set dice to remove enemy bases, then to place damage if selected space is at support. Otherwise, avoid placing damage if possible. Okay, if at support. Okay. All right, so their ambush is going to be different than the ambush we just did for orange. So I think that's part of it. So their ambush says up to 2 attack spaces with a hidden rebel. The attack activates 1 hidden RD rebel only and sets each die to any desired value instead of rolling. So that ambush action is pretty powerful. Mental note, ambush is powerful. Okay. We got to use their ambush pips. So CR is not the player. MG is player. Most support is where they want to ambush. That is the top criteria. It's not a vulnerable base, which I find interesting. Now, it says using ambush. There is an attack thing, and attack has different priorities. It would be where the base is. So that's the part I find interesting, is that the ambush is changing. Since they're doing ambush first, it's going to be in a different place than where the attack would be if you followed the attack logic. But we do what it says. It says ambush first. So it wants to go where it's not active. I'm sorry, where there's the most support. So where is there the most support? Well, here's 1. And then here's 2. Here's 3. And here's 4. And remember, it's got to be wherever they have troops, right? So we can't just choose anything. So there's 4 places. We got to limit it down to 2. So we're going to keep going. So then the next spot is vulnerable enemy base, which, yeah, except the problem is none of these 4 are vulnerable enemy bases. So none of them are vulnerable. So we're going to keep going. No RD control. That is true for, no. This one here has RD control. So this one is removed. We're down to 3. Keep going. Next one is most rebels. They all have 3, exactly 3. All right, let's keep going. Fewest enemy forces. Now that, we can narrow it down. It's not going to be this one. So it'll be these 2, with that one being the priority. This one would go first out of the 2. So we're going to choose that. So all ambush does, I'm not saying all it does, but like all it does for this situation is they have to activate a hidden rebel and set the die to any desired value instead of rolling. So in both of these places, we're going to activate a hidden rebel. And I don't know what the dice do because we're going to look at the attack action, but I'm assuming 2 1s is going to be ideal. So in fact, that's what we're going to look at next. So the attack action for them is any spaces with enemy forces. In each space, activate all rebels and roll 2 dice. If the sum is equal to or less than the total forces, place 1 damage. Then each die result equal to or less than the number of rebels present removes 1 EG troop or 2 other enemies. So it's exactly the same. And just to reread this, it's telling us to set dice to remove enemy bases. Why would it say remove enemy bases? Then to place damage. If selected space is at support, otherwise avoid placing damage if possible. I'm just reading, folks, sorry. It does say bases last, so they would have to kill everything. They don't have enough troops to destroy a base, so I'm not worried about that. But they are going to do maximum damage possible, and I think they, right here it says attack, using attack to select spaces. This is dumb again, because we selected using ambush. And it's up to 2 spaces accompanying an attack option. So it's given us different criteria down here that once again doesn't apply. Again, whoever came up with these cards did a horrible job of that logic. This logic down here needs to be up there with the special activity. Because otherwise, it says select using ambush. That's exactly what we did. Down here, it says select using attack. Attack is a different bubble chart column. It has different criteria. And this criteria 1, 2, 3 is even more specific. It's horribly done. I hope that if they ever come out with a version 2 of this game that they fix that. That is something that must be fixed. That is not good. And maybe the errata, they can try to address it there. Okay, out of all the things I've seen board games do wrong, this is minor. I know I'm sounding all emotional about it, but it's minor. But it drives me nuts because it gives me confusion. And it makes me think that I'm not following the rules. Or that I'm somehow missing something. But I don't think I'm missing anything. I think they missed it. Anyways. And it also makes me wonder who play tested this. Somebody had to have. How could you not get to that action and realize that this is a problem? Anyways, I'm really hoping that one of you is watching this video and you can say, Jeff, calm down. It's actually you. And I'm okay with that if it's actually me, because then I at least feel better that this was play tested. When I start to think that it wasn't, that's when I start to get worried. But anyways, let's keep going. Those are the 2 places they're going to attack. I refuse to go through the attack bubble and pick different places than these 2. Oh, I see. Hold on. I think I might have figured it out. The attack action works on more than just 2 places. They can attack everywhere. It's infinite places. They're ambushing in 2, yes. So if the attack action is done in those 2 places, then yes, they get to ambush in those places, but they can attack everywhere. It finally makes sense. Okay, emotional rant. Andrew, if you're still time-stamping my stuff, tell people to skip from there to here. I feel better. I feel a lot better about it. It's still confusing because, and I'm going to just say this one thing, and I hope I still make sense. Why did I pick 2 paces for ambush when I go down here to do the attack action, and it might tell me to go to another place, and then I roll a die, and then my action stops, and I never actually get to the 2 ambush places? Then what? It seems to me like the places you pick for ambush have to go first, or otherwise everything else just falls apart. But it doesn't say, number 1, it should say where you selected for ambush. That should be number 1, and then 2, 3, 4. All right, let's step through this, because if I go using attack to select spaces, attack is an RD base with no hidden rebel. That's where they want to attack. So that's here. So they want to attack here, top priority. They don't want to attack at those 2 ambush spots. They want to attack there. So the attack bubble is telling us to do that first. Now, it does have at support with 3 or more rebels and no opposition, where all rebels are already active. So, are those 3 things I need to evaluate before? Well, here, let me go through. Execute everything in order. Follow all the rules about space selection. Use the active NP faction space selection priorities table when directed. Text in bold specifies the column. Italicized instructions serve as reminders. Starred instructions are executed immediately when they are reached on a card. Instructions that follow a red conditional are only executed if that condition is true. If there's no legal spaces, draw a new card. That's what it says to do. Okay, so there is a, at the end of the AI bot book, they go through like a playthrough, right? Where they, it's not a full playthrough, but it just like one particular turn. So the way it works is you use the attack priority chart, the bubbles, to select spaces. But first you pick all spaces that are at support first. Then you pick spaces with 3 or more rebels with no opposition. Then you pick spaces where all D rebels are already active, okay? You do all 3 of these first, and then you use the attack priority bubble to resolve the ties, or anything that's left. So, for example, at support would mean that they're not picking this space. Instead, they would pick this space here, this space there, that space which was already selected, and this one here, right? Those are all at support. Now there's other places at support, but they don't have any rebels, so we're not going to worry about those. So we have 4 spaces selected. Then they want places that have 3 or more rebels and no opposition. That doesn't exist anywhere. So we don't have that. Where all rebels are already active. That also does not exist. So we're at 4 places selected. And we could use the bubble chart, which is then telling us this place, right? That would be like a 5th one. I'm going to lay it over because it's not as high priority as the others. So out of all these places, which one do we choose first? And that's where it could get interesting because remember, they have to roll dice to see if they continue their action. So what we do here is I'm taking this back. We would only ever get to that one if we did the other 4 and they still rolled successfully. Of these 4, which one are they attacking first? Because they don't get to like say, hey, I'm attacking all 4. They have to do the roll die thing. So then we go through the attack bubbles. So it says not active opposition. Well, that's all of them because they told us to only go where there's support. Then we jump down to which one has the most support. They're all equal, so that's fine. Vulnerable enemy base, none of them. No RD control. Okay, so that means this one is out. So we're getting to a similar outcome, but we're down to 3 now. Then after that, most rebels. They're all tied. Then after that, fewest enemy forces, which again, we're going to do that one first. So now we're back to the ambush again. So it is lining up, but man, oh man, was that a complicated affair. But fine, they're going to do this one. So they do the attack action. And so what that means is everything is activating. So bing and bing. They're going to then damage, but remember, we have protection. So this guy gets knocked off to casualties. Not those casualties, because they go here. That's the first half. And then each die result equal to or less that kills an EG or 2 enemies. So 2 enemies get removed. So we're down to 1. Okay, so that's it for that one. These 2 are done. So then using the same priorities, this one would be number 2 because it has less of our troops. They act, oh, hold on. They got to roll. They got to get a, why am I losing my thought? They have to get higher than a 3. They got a 4. So they do continue. Whoops. And then activate, activate. They do damage here. And that puts another population in displacement. And then they kill 2. All right, so this one causes us to lose 2 points. So we go down 2. And then now they roll to see if they're going to continue. And they don't. So they're done. They actually did exactly the ambush spaces by doing that. I personally think I could have written that AI card a lot smoother than that. You would think that the 2 spaces picked for ambush are top priority for the attack. And then, okay, after you resolve the 2 ambush spaces, then you use the attack bubble chart and whatever other priorities to continue to select spaces. That should be absolutely what you do. What's the point of doing the ambush if you're not going to ambush the locations or attack the locations? It's a little bit of a waste. But anyways, their turn is over, and now it's our turn. So we can do the event, or we can do a limited operation. So now here's where it's interesting. We have some population. That's what we wanted all along. They did expose themselves, so we can kill them outright, which is also, like now I want a bunch of actions. But I want to make sure, because if we did something like train, I can get my troops back out, and then we would actually be able to pacify, which as you can see is up to 2 of house and repair. So we could do a repair and a house and get both of those population back on the board and move to EG+. And we don't have to pay the 3 resources to do it. We can get our troops back out, and it would be glorious. The problem is I have no money. That's my issue. I have no money. So, and And if I were able to do a full action, I'd be able to get some supply going. So what else can I do? I can assault, but that also costs money. So I can't do that either. So now I want to look at that event, because that event actually might help us. We may house in one space and then shift up to 2 deserts with population markers, 1 level each. Now, the only thing that stinks is that by housing in one space, I leave a population marker there for the Martian, or for the Red Dust rebels to flip that back to negative again. Like, I need it to go positive and stay positive. But I don't have the 3 resources to do what I wanted to do, which would get me both of those markers. And I don't want to pass. Because if I pass, I mean, I do go second over here. I mean, I could pass. Corporation would go first. This is nice, but they don't have any unpopulated desert bases, so this is useless for them. I would get to go second, but chances are they would do a full op just like this, and I'd be in the same position. This one I at least get to do the house that I want to do. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to house one space. I would have loved to repair that damage, but I can't do that. So I'm going to take a population and house it here, which will give me my 2 points back. So let's do that. 1, 2. And then that lets me flip it to EG+, which is the big victory. And then shift 2 deserts with population markers, 1 level each towards active support. Now this is where it gets interesting, because I happen to have a desert space right there that has an extra population. And so I'm going to flip this one to passive support, which gives me 2 more points. And then this one here is passive opposition. I can flip this one and that would take away his support. It doesn't help me, but it takes away his. He's 2 away from winning. Or I can flip this to make it active, which gives me another point. So which is better, giving me points or taking away his? It's a tough question. This one over here, there's no troops there, so that would be an easy point. That would probably never get taken away from me if I did it. I think that the dust storm allowed them to do this. So if I take that away, the dust storm is just going to put it back. So I'm going to put passive support over here in this desert where nobody's located. That gives me another point that I don't think is going to get taken away. And there's damage in other places, which there's actually another desert up there that could have achieved the same thing for me. All right, so I did my event, my turn's over. Ineligible, eligible. This card is coming out. This card is the next one, and it says 4. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, boom, 4. We're doing the flashpoint track. This couldn't have come a moment too soon there. Flashpoint. Oh, sorry, my dog is saying hi. Hello. All right, I'll play with you in a bit. Okay. Aldrin Cycler. Look at this nonsense. This stuff moves over. Place population markers, move satellites, no supply. Move a population marker from Earth to transit. There's none there. EarthGov controller picks 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is huge because this is money for us right here. Then corporate casualties, which there aren't any. Then we do move all satellites, improve or degrade the Earth confidence. This is the one that was big for us right here. That moves up. And then it says add pieces to Earth. So here we're going to add a population and a supply. There's no cubes left. So it's just going to be a population and 3 supplies. So this is good news for us. Then terraforming. So they're going to get 5 profit again. 2, 4, and then 1 for every second desert, which is 5. So 5 plus 5 puts them up to 10. All right, that was a good flashpoint round for us and for the corporation. So now we are here, and they do not have the ability. They're already second eligible, and there's only 1, so they're not going to roll dice. They would still have to roll 3, move 3 points to move ahead of them. Okay, so this is the Green Mars campaign. I don't think this helps them at all. So they're probably going to do the, well, they would do the op, but we got to look at the next one over. So is the current event critical? No. Is it critical for the eligible faction? No. Is the next event critical for the corporation? No. Look at that, it's critical for us though. What an interesting one that one is. Okay. Now, just an observation here. We had a dust storm very early, the first one. So that means it's going to be extra long before we get to the next dust storm because we still have to, every dust storm is in a group of 12 cards. So there's 13 total cards if you count the dust storm. So we had the dust storm, I think, on turn 7. So that means that there was still 6 cards, right? Because there's 13 total cards from the first dust storm cycle. And then you have 13 cards for the second dust storm cycle. So we could theoretically be going through 20 turns before we see the next dust storm. Now that dust storm might also be early up in the deck. It all depends. But the point is we're actually getting a lot more play this time around. And I think it shows because other than the corporation not deploying those troops, there's a lot more, I think, I'm getting a lot more turns, first of all. And I think there's a lot more going on. Okay, so with that being said, getting back to this, the next card is not helping them. No, it helps me, and so they're going to do the op plus SA. So just going to reach up and put that there. Let's grab their card. Any population markers and displaced? Yes. This actually is good for us because they will put it on EG positive. So that means it won't change for us. And it also gets it off the board so red doesn't take it. Any space with coin to control, security, and damage and may perform special activity? Yes. So their special activity is public relations, repair using place population. Okay, so this is easy. We're going to go to their bubble chart. I just need to find place population in their bubble. Oh, I'm looking at orange. Sorry. Okay, the first bubble says most corp forces. So that would be actually there because they have 4 of them. And yeah, they can put it there. So they put a +1 population here. That does give us 2 points. So it puts us at 31. And yeah, the EG stays positive because now remember, they keep it positive unless it's above here. And if we were in control, then they make it negative. So it's the public relations action. Let me make sure there's nothing else going on with that action. So this is up to 2 spaces. Repair any number of times, gaining 2 profits for each damage removed, then house in 1 selected space. So they were supposed to repair first, not house. So we're going to back this up. They want to go where they have troops. There's nowhere where they have troops. So let's keep going. Labyrinth with corp greater than MG. No. Most population. Okay. So now it's getting into, so what's going to happen here is most population with damage is this one. There's nowhere that has 2 population with damage. Everywhere else has just 1 population with damage. So by repairing the damage, we now are back to 2 population. I still move up 2, so my score doesn't change. But the key difference here, though, is since they did a repair, they get 2 profit for that. So they're up to 12 now. So that was a better move for them anyways. It helps us and it helps them. Then it says they may house in 1 space, but the problem is there's no more population. Then in each space where house or repair occurred, if RD is present, they lose 3 resources. That doesn't do anything. And if the CR was present, they would lose a card or an asset. Okay, that was great. So then we go to logistics, which is what they need to do. So they want to upgrade 1 base using place or upgrade bases. So under logistics, it says if desert, upgrade a base. So they're not going to upgrade the base in the labyrinth. So there's no base for them to upgrade in the desert. And then here it says update additional base. Okay, they're going to place 4 corp units on Earth. They can do maximum of 1 of these. There's only 2 units to place. So those go on Earth. They're going to resolve the Aldrin cycle and place 3 security using place cubes at corp bases with 0 to 3. There's no security for them to place. Well, no, they can do 1. No, the AI never... See, so the player, I could remove that cube from Earth and put it here with the place cube action. But the AI never does that. So, yeah, they can't place a cube. This is really not a very exciting action for them. They need to move troops, like secure or assault. But they do the Aldrin cycle, which causes this to happen, right? All this comes over, and then this is 3, 6, 7 supply. And then the only thing that doesn't happen is the population doesn't move. And I got to look at the Aldrin cycle. Do we get 1 money for each supply? We get 3 for each supply. There was 7. So we get 21 bucks for that. So now we're up to 23. We're back in business, baby. We suffered for a little while, but thank you, corporation, for getting us some money there. Okay, so their action's done. And now orange is up. And they can do a limited op or the event. And the event for them, I didn't even read it, would be remove all supply markers from Earth. RD may draw and play 1 campaign card. That's not, well, look at this. This is a don't play for them. They have no interest in this one whatsoever. Okay, so is the next event critical for them? No, it's not. Um, okay, first of all, I thought I paused the recording to answer my phone. I think you guys ended up hearing part of my phone conversation. I mean, obviously, it's just my son calling to ask me to play some Hearts of Iron 4 with him. So I apologize for subjecting you guys to my personal phone call there. It's just what happens when you think you paused the video recording and it didn't. So I don't have the ability to edit my videos. So I can't, I either have to delete the entire video and not let you see the playthrough, or you're just going to have to endure my son calling me and telling me he wants to play Hoi 4 in 5 minutes. So just accept my apologies there. I don't ask for likes or subscribes, and I guess I try to keep some level of professionalism. But I try not to do that. But that was my mistake. So, and yeah, it was harmless. Just my grown adult sons still like to play video games. And I still like to join them whenever I can. So yes, I am going to wrap this video up, as I said, so I can join them. And so let's finish this, and then I won't be able to do the op, because that could take me 20 minutes to figure out what they're doing. But it is the orange player, and the first eligible chose op and SA, and current event is not critical. I don't even think it's effective. It has the big slash on it, so there is no there. Then it says, oh yeah, they have one card, so they might do the event. It just might be this. It's a capability, and they are going to do this. Their attack may remove satellites from anywhere on Mars. Perform a free operation in 2 spaces after playing this event. So they're going to have to do a free operation, and in just 2 spaces. So here is the operation card. I'm not saying that this is applicable because I'm not going to read the if-then-else's, but I'm going to put a 2 on it to show that they only can do it in 2 spaces. And when I get back, that's what we're going to try to see if we can execute. And yeah, again, sorry about that, but as always, thanks for watching and stay awesome.